You want to know what the number one dream killer is? Yeah, it's procrastination. Bet, bet you couldn't figure that one out, right? No, in all seriousness, man, I've been procrastinating a lot lately. Um, it's weird. It's that little itch that you just want to scratch, but you don't. And the crappy thing about it really is that, the longer you hold off, the worse it gets, you know? Because over time, like, crap just piles up more, so then it becomes even harder to start, right? I spent a lot of my life just procrastinating, scrolling. When I was younger, at least, Instagram wasn't really big yet, or TikTok wasn't a thing. I'm not that old, but, not in middle school at least. But, it's so easy to just sit at home and be on your phone, or just isolate and play video games, or sit on your ass and watch TV all day. And there's things that, like, you gotta do, right? I mean, if you want the life that of your dreams, then you gotta work for it. You gotta move. One thing I kind of realized after getting out of college is, you really have to make life happen, right? Because when we're in middle school, high school, college, everything's pretty much like scheduled for us. All the classes, you're around people your age, frats or whatever, sports, stuff like that. It's really easy to connect and, have a busy schedule. But once you become an adult and you get a job, and, man, outside of that job, outside of that 9 to 5, you got to really figure out what you want to do. And you got to do crap. And it's weird because it's like, you would think that, oh yeah, that makes sense. But you really, once you get out of school, I'm sure everyone else who's been through that, kind of realizes, like, oh shit, like, nothing else is going on in my life but work. And most of the time, it's shit that we don't even like, man. So when you're working, that extra time is even more precious, and that's not even to think about other crap you got to do, whether it's doctor's appointments, therapy, I don't know what you do, something. Um, and if you want to have the life that you want, you really got to work overtime. But it's so easy, man. It's so easy to just, after a long day of work, you don't want to go on your computer and study, or fucking look up how to do certain shit that you're going to suck at for a while. That's the other thing. It's not even always about, getting a dopamine hit off of scrolling. It's starting a new thing. It sucks and it's hard because no one wants to suck at anything. Like, no one wants to, people don't want to do new things because it's hard being shitty at it. Because it fades away your delusion of, oh, maybe I'm a natural at it, or maybe it's not as hard as, other people say it's going to be. But in reality, it's always actually harder than you think it's going to be. And then what do you do then? It's one of those things where you just got to start and get a little momentum. And it's cliche, right? Because I could have fucking figured that out, But people don't listen to it. They just, and myself included, I'm not perfect at all. I've been putting off doing stuff for a long time. My whole life, you know. I don't like to do half the shit I need to do, you know, or want to do. You know, I want better for myself, you know? And I want to do something that makes me happy outside this 9 to 5, but you know, it's grueling. It's hard to, you know, work. I work on a fucking boat. I'm gone half the year. When I'm on the boat, I work for 12 hours a day. Right? It's not much free time outside of that. But then when I'm home, you know, I get all this free time. That can be daunting. If I could give any advice on getting over procrastination, it's absolutely setting a schedule. Setting a schedule and sticking to it. You know, waking up early or staying up a little later. You know, have that chill time. But you know, you gotta wind down a little, but you also gotta get your priorities right, you know? Or else before you know it, you know, you're gonna be 30 years old doing the same crap you were doing before and nothing to show for it, you know? You're just gonna be more miserable than you were before because at least then you had time, you know? At least then you had time to do stuff. But, you know, once you get older, you don't have as much time to take risks and try the things you want to try, because a lot of the times you think you want to do something, but then it turns out to be really shitty or something that you just don't like, you know? Because there's a lot more to, you know, like making YouTube videos. You know, there's a lot of other crap that's involved besides just filming. You know, that's part of it, but, you know, there's getting your name out there, there's connecting with people, there's making thumbnails and all that crap. I'm just doing this because I've been dealt kind of shitty hand. Not the worst, definitely not the worst by far, but I create a lot of my own suffering, and it was really hard on me, and it took a lot for me to get out of my shell and figure out, you know, who I want to be and how I need to be in order to do the things I want. And I don't know, I wish I had someone that I could really trust and talk to about, you know, that type of stuff, who, you know, who could really get me and isn't someone who just wants my money or to sell me some fucking course. That's all I see nowadays. It's all this dopamine hits of motivation on Instagram, and then, you know, some bald-headed dude from fucking Romania wants to tell me my life will be complete once I have, you know, 30 random chicks and some Bugatti. That shit doesn't make you happy, man. It won't. You may think it does, which is fine. I mean, it appeals to most young men, and it did for myself included. But it's not what life is about. You know, it's not about having $1 billion fucking dollars and all the women, you know, gasping and trying to grab at you and trying to get in bed with you. You know, that's shit isn't real, man. It's being sold to you. Right? It's trying to play with your emotions, your loneliness, your insecurities. That's all this shit is, man. And I'm really fucking tired of it. So that's why I'm doing this. And I've been procrastinating doing some of this, you know, because I know I'm not great at it. I've only made one video so far, and it had 14 views, which is fine. You know, I got a couple likes. I got a subscriber, so fuck yeah. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't I put it off because I'm like, not. First off, I don't really know how I want to go about it. And secondly, I know I'm not great at it. Third, no one's gonna fucking watch it probably. All these things, all these doubts came in my mind. Just like how they would about school when I was studying for my exams that I had to pass to get my mariner license. I was such a procrastinator. I just filled myself with doubt. And that's the easy way out. Is just to listen to that voice tell you you're not good enough, that it's never gonna work out, or oh, I got time. All that crap, man. You're running out of time. I mean, you have time. It doesn't matter how old you are, but if you want to go deep, I mean, you never know when your day is going to be your last, This is the oldest you've ever been and the youngest you'll ever be right now. Every second. 1 second closer. But I urge you to just pick up whatever it is you're putting off and just do it. And when you get busy and you start setting up a schedule and you start going after things, you find you don't have time to procrastinate. And that's the key. The key is to be so busy that you don't have time to think about a whole bunch of random crap to sit down and, scroll all day or whatever. It's good to have some downtime. You're going to burn out if you don't, but you really got to you just got to get busy. And once you start, it's usually easier than you think it is, right? Because we imagine all this crap in our heads about, again, how shitty we are, or how bad it's gonna be, or not good enough, or whatever. But which can definitely be true, but it's not as bad once you get started, and you start rolling and you get some momentum. Once you get some momentum, take off. That's the hard part for me. I'll start and I'll pick up some momentum, and then something will happen, or I'll think shitty about myself for some reason, because that's life, right? We're not always going to feel our best. And then I stop, and then I stay stagnant. And it sucks, because when I stop and do that, I have to start building up that momentum all over again. So that's been something I've been working on, and that applies to, working on whatever your dream job is, or going to the gym, it doesn't matter. Facing your fears, like, you gotta build momentum, and you gotta do whatever you can to just keep that momentum. So, just do it. Just fucking do it. You either want it or you don't, I think a lot of us deep down want it, but not as badly as we really think. We're okay with where we're at. Like, a lot of us really are deep down. We're okay with working a regular job, which is fine. There's no, if you like your job or you're fine with it. But to believe that your life's gonna be a fucking Instagram reel and on a yacht with 30 girls, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you want to go for it, try it, man. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are really comfortable with where they're at. You might be too. But if you're not gonna go for it, don't hope for it. So that's all I got. I'm gonna say hi to my lady, my kitty, and enjoy my night. I want you to be great. So do it. Do the work. You got it.